information now, please make sure to subscribe to this channel.
As your kids are getting older, you still think of them.
Tell the truth.
Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up, but I still try. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I get so fed up. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. Why do I feel like a letdown? On the edge, I don't wanna get down. Been on this road one time way back when I chose J Mac over Les Brown. So close to calling it quits. Look at all the dumb stuff that I did. Said I wouldn't be just like my dad, but I went ghost on 2 of my kids. No cap, just might pop 10 more of these pros. So hard to forget, I don't really wanna go back. I really need a fresh start, could really use a mulligan. I've been in rehab, I don't really wanna relapse.
You are now tuned to BS3 Network.
I'm out at night, in my head.
BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Download today.
I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. Yeah. I get so fed up. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up, but I still try. I get so fed up.
BS3 Network is now on Roku TV under BS3 TV. Download today.
I get so fed up. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I ain't right, but that's alright. Off my meds, out at night, all that time, can't get back, feeling sad. I don't know why, I ain't gon' lie. You ain't no good, but come on by, come on slide. Still can't feel, lost my bro, still don't cry. I don't know why. 25 letters on my dresser. Why do I feel like a mess up? Everybody see me out here walking with the Lord, but I still wanna dance with the devil, yeah. Why show love to Becky, but I friends on Quintessa? Every single woman deserves to be loved. A gift like that's so special. But we treat a dark-skinned girl like precious, and a red-bone girl so extra. All I gotta say is be careful, cause the media is really out to get you. Yikes, that ain't right, but that's alright. Out at night, in my head, off my meds, feeling sad and I don't know why. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my yeah. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I get so fed up. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I ain't right, but that's alright. Off my meds, out at night, all that time, can't get back, feeling sad. I don't know why, I ain't gon' lie. You ain't no good, but come on by, come on slide. Still can't feel, lost my bro, still don't cry. I don't know why. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up.
All right, everybody. Peace to you. Welcome to the program today. Thank you for being here, everyone out there. This is a hell of a time to be alive and see some of the things that are happening in our world today. A lot of things that I don't agree with. And this is a very serious live stream here. And people are going to say, the critics out there are going to say, oh, you're being picky. Come on now. You're being picky. And I'm going to say to you that, no, this isn't about being picky. It's about what's the reality. We've been watching over the last few months as you have Governor Babbitt have it, the conservatives that have put migrants who have come into the country either because they are seeking asylum, according to them, and you have some that are here illegally, looking for work, possibly. These are the areas that we never focus on when it comes to people who come over here from the border. We assume that everybody that comes over is just an asylum seeker and someone running away from some harm, or they're coming over here to work. We forget about the Mexican mafia. We forget about the cartels who will purposely use people as mules to say, you go over to the United States, you seek asylum, you become a citizen. Once you get set up in the United States, we'll use you to kind of profiteer the drugs into the system. That's something that does go on. Now, I've got some years in working around people who do this sort of stuff, criminals that I deal with. And it is a fact that you have people who have criminal records. You have people who come over from the border, Central America or Mexico, who will claim asylum. And then you find out later on that this is a person that ran from their country because they were a criminal in their country and their country was looking to put them in jail, execute them, whatever it is that their country's laws are. And then they'll run over here to the United States and they'll say, and this is the bargain word that is said all the time, seeking asylum. How do we know that that's the truth? Now, of course, they go through a review to be able to get a green card, to be able to become a citizen. They have to go through some type of review from our country. But there are those that sneak over illegally, because I've dealt with them in my years and working within the prison environment, in counseling and mental health. I have ran across several individuals who snuck over here, ladies and gentlemen. Can't give you all the details, but I've ran into many people that snuck over here illegally, claimed those things that I just talked about, and then they came over here and engaged in criminal activity. Right now in our nation's capital, and you might have heard about this, they've already passed, the city council in Washington, D.C., has already approved, without any dispute amongst their council, to make it legal for people who have come over here as immigrants or illegal to now be able to vote in elections. Now you know why the Democratic Party, or what I call the Democrats, and I'm not letting the Republican clan off the hook, because both the Democrats and the Republicans are the same damn party. One has a left wing, one has a right wing. One screws you with Vaseline, one screws you without Vaseline.
Tell the truth.
We know that the Democrats were the party of the Dixiecrats, where the Ku Klux Klan had its birth, and then they jumped ship and ran over to the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party likes to talk to you about that history, but they forget to tell you also, oh, those Klan members jumped over to our party. So both parties are two systems that have always been playing games with us. So you have a city in Washington, D.C. that is a black city, or supposed to be black. They're being gentrified out there too. And now, where is the say of the population to be able to say, do we want to have immigrants, or in this case, illegals, able to, because immigrants are people who come over, they get a green card, and then you have to apply for citizenship. If you apply for citizenship and become a citizen, then you do have the right to vote. But if you're not a citizen and you're just over here on a work visa, or you came over here legally, you got no business voting. You see how easy they are to give it to them? Black people fought all our lives. Our ancestors died for the right to vote, had dogs sicked us on us for the right to vote.
Tell the truth.
And these other people who come over from the border can just come on over here. And then we got people in Washington, D.C. caping for them to give them the right to vote, which I find is crazy. And I think Mayor Bowser is going to approve this. Now, you go over and you look at New York City, and they have the migrants that were sent on buses by the conservative states such as Texas, Santos in Florida. They're putting them on buses, and you're saying to yourself, well, look at those Republicans doing their crap again. Why are they doing it? Because these are sanctuary cities. New York is a sanctuary city, ladies and gentlemen. San Francisco is a sanctuary city. I think Los Angeles may be a sanctuary city as well. And I want to ask all of you out there listening, when have they ever took it to a vote for the citizens in these major cities to be able to say, yes, we want to be a sanctuary city? What does that mean? That means you take in people who come in over here illegally, break the law illegally, come over here, or they are asylumly seeking asylum because they're running from some persecution from some government. However, isn't it funny how we never hold the governments in Central America or South America or even Mexico accountable for not doing a damn thing for their people who mainly come over here because they're looking for work? So why is it that we don't have any embargoes that we put on Mexico, where we stop going over there and giving them our money until their government will do what India did, which is invest money economically in their people by educating them and giving them better wages? Why is it that United States has to take on this burden of trying to be a mother den to everybody in the damn world? And then what happens is that when these folks come over here, they are impacting the social systems and the social ills and the problems that we already have. Now, you got New York City, where you have people living in New York who are struggling because the rent is too damn high. Living expenses are too damn high. The price of food is too damn high. And they're out there trying to struggle to get the services that are available, if any. And now you bring in a whole influx of migrants, spend money on them, which should be spent on the citizens first, who are people who were born in New York, born in America, who are citizens of this country, the children, the women, the men. They should be first priority. These people should not be sent to sanctuary cities. Matter of fact, we shouldn't even have sanctuary cities, because last time I checked, I've never voted for my city to be a sanctuary city. I don't think anybody in I don't think it was put on the ballot in San Francisco. I don't think it was put on the ballot in New York. I don't think anybody. Why would you make us? How can you make, or why would you make your city a sanctuary city, knowing that that's going to be an impact on your social services when you already got poor and people struggling? And you don't even take it to the vote of the people to be able to say yay or nay, whether we want to be a sanctuary city and take on this influx of hundreds of people coming over. Now you got to set up camps for them, shelters for them, social services, put their kids in schools with our kids. Now, if those kids don't speak any English, now you got to spend resources to get those kids up to speed. Well, at the same time, our kids that go to school here, that were born here, are getting the short end of the stick already. Black children and other children in New York are already getting the short end of the stick. But they found, let me tell you how much money they found to build this this campsite. Let me and I got juicy video for you. I've got juicy video for you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't underestimate the program today. Don't underestimate that. Let me show you something here. So they set this campsite out, or this tent. It's a tent. It's a tent camp. And they set it up, and it cost the city of New York about $750,000 to set this camp up. Meanwhile, you've got shelters in New York that are already struggling. That money would have been better spent on the problems that you already have with the citizens that are already citizens in your damn city. Now you've got these influx of migrants because Texas put them on a bus and sent them to New York. You know what they should have did? They should have put them right back on the bus and sent them right back to Texas, because they were actually Texas' problem. Texas took their problem, sent it to the blue states, in this case, New York, because they're sanctuary cities, which was a big mistake for those politicians to do this. This is that Democratic bullshit. While the Democrats have done nothing for black folks who are citizens here, who vote for them, they want to cozy up to the migrants and the immigrants that come over because they want their votes, and they want to replace us as their base. And this is all about politics. The Republicans knew what they were doing by shipping them off or sending them off to New York and any other sanctuary city like Los Angeles. Los Angeles is already a city that's under siege. You've got Skid Row, where you have black people on Skid Row.
Tell the truth.
Right here, let me show you something. I showed you this in the beginning of the program as I was coming on. You got black people on Skid Row. A good majority of the homeless population in LA is black. Black people on Skid Row, and the governor Newsom, they're trying to spend money to fix the problem, but the problem has not been fixed. The problem has not been solved. So now you already haven't done shit for people on Skid Row to make them completely whole. Now you bring in an influx of people that you didn't ask for. You did ask for them because you're a sanctuary city, when you should have put them right back on a bus and paid the fee for the bus and send them right back to Texas, right back to where they came from, because it should be the state of Texas problem, not California's problem. If they were to come to California, come to New York, then it is the problem for them to figure out how to deal with it. But you got these southern states that are bouncing this problem to the sanctuary states, which was a big mistake for those cities, mayors and governors, to pass such measures without letting the people in these states take it to a vote. How do you all feel about that? I don't know where many of you live in the world, but how do you feel about the fact that laws can be passed, or a executive order can be passed, where you get an influx of people who are over there seeking asylum, but we already got black folks and other folks already struggling who need these services, and these services are being eaten up and gobbled up because now they got to go deal with an influx of people who've just come over here claiming that they are here seeking asylum, and you don't even know if that's really true. But when it comes to the American citizen, you got our social security number, you got more information on who we are, but you don't know who they are. And then you spend money to set up a nice camp for them, make it plush, make it look kind of nice compared to what people in the shelters in New York are dealing with. Oh, black men, there's a shelter in this community. I think Randalls Island. Originally, they were in Brooklyn. The people in Brooklyn were not happy about it, so they got moved out of Brooklyn, brought over to Randalls Island. They got a shelter not that far from this tent camp that they set up for the migrants. And the brothers over there are saying, wait a minute, they got all type of amenities. They got things that we don't have. We've been here before they got here. This is what I'm telling you, folks. there is no love for black folks in this country, there's a double standard. The highest number of people that are homeless in New York are black folks. I'm going to run the numbers down to you. This is no joke. This is serious information here. Let's not play around today. Ask yourself, why is it that Mayor Adams, who claimed when he got into office that he would do good by the homeless. Now, at one point in time, he wanted to move the homeless into a hotel, I think on the west side, a very exclusive side of New York. And many of the people in the building didn't like these homeless brothers and sisters being in the building. So then the mayor, the office, ended up having to boot them out of there and giving them a 30-day notice. This brother right here is Sham. I'm going to show you a 15-minute video with Sham because he was homeless himself. He's the man that's on the thumbnail of this video. He's an activist in New York helping the homeless. He breaks it down, and he also was given that 30-day notice before he later on found housing to get out of this hotel. Very nice hotel indeed. And it's almost like Mayor Adams gave them something and then took it away from them. Y'all got to move. You're going to hear it. You're also going to hear how these so-called Democratic candidates, like I think Mayor Adams was a Democrat. And when these black men in the shelter, right, not that far from Randalls Island, where they set everything up for the migrants very nicely with Xboxes and all types of shit. I'm talking about they gave them the whole spread. In here, you're going to see in the tent camp, they set the migrants up with Xbox games.
Tell the truth.
Shit like that. They set them up with, games to play, little hand games to play like that. They gave them plush couches. You don't see that over in the shelter where a lot of black men are right next to this area. I'm showing you what they had. Look at this. They got flat screen televisions. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 televisions there. And they've got all the luxuries. Now, they're not living in a rich house. They're not living in a mansion. But they set this tent up and they got special temperature, ladies and gentlemen, so that they can be nicely warm in the cold or in the heat. Okay. Then they set them up with phones so that they can be able to call people where they come from. So now they can make international calls free. And guess who's paying for it? The taxpayers of New York. Do the homeless, black people that are homeless and other racial groups that are homeless in New York, are they getting these services? And I'm talking about black people because black people are the highest number of homeless in New York. So they set them up with that. They set them up with, when you see what the brothers are getting in the shelter, not that far from them, you'll understand why I got an attitude about this. All right. Do you see? Now look at this right here. They got a nice, they set them up with a cafeteria area. Okay. And in that cafeteria area, they set it up where they get special food catered to their diet, catered to their culture. The brothers in the shelter, not too far from this area, they get really bad macaroni. That's it. Poorly cooked in the whole 9 yards. I'm telling you the truth.
Tell the truth.
Not playing any games here. So they get the condiments and everything set up very nicely. Oh, they get a laundry system here. So they got laundry, dryer, and washer all set up for them where they can wash their clothes. All set up. This is the shelters in New York. They're not set up this nice. And the shelter that's right across from them where it's a men's shelter. And this whole program right here, this tent program, as you see this right here, this is all set up. This was all put together within 24 hours. They put this together and they were able to pull money and resources to put this together. And this is mainly going to be for men migrants. But then check this out. They spent all this money on this, $750,000. And I think only 2 male migrants showed up because a lot of them want to stay inside the city and so on and so forth. They're in some of the shelters out there, which is also taking up resources from people who've been living in New York all their life, probably were in the military for this country, probably have a lot of mental health problems, because the homeless problem in New York is based on mental health and drug abuse problems, and the fact that the rent is too high and people have gone homeless because it's just too damn expensive to live in New York. They set the migrants up and only 2 of them show up, and you didn't hear anybody say, hey, let's get some of our homeless in New York that's out there on those streets right now, who don't even have a shelter to go to right now because the shelters are full, and let's bring them and let them hang out and spend some time in this very plush tent camp with all these different amenities that we put in there, and at the same time get them mental health treatment and find out if we can get them back on their feet. See, they're not even talking about, they're just talking about how, oh, we didn't get enough migrants to come in here and use up this place. But won't you take some of those resources for people that are still out there on the streets of New York and let them take advantage of these beds that you see before you? Let them enjoy for just that time playing Xbox. Let them enjoy playing foosball and stuff like that. Let them have the luxury of sitting in a real decent couch for what it's worth. Decent is not just one couch, it's many couches they put in there. Let them have the ability to have a few months or a few nights of this. Let them have the ability to make phone calls to people that never have heard of, that they haven't been able to talk to. Let them have the decency of you being able to bring in the mental health, the social services while they're living in this encampment to help them get on their feet and get them further services. Why don't you do that? Let me show you something here before I get into the visual things like that nature. Ratio of proportionate and poverty related to the total proportion by race and age, right? So 18 and under 18, homelessness, once again, is 1.8% for black people, Hispanics 1.5%, 0.6% for white non-Hispanic. Age 18 to 64, black people at 1.7%. White non-Hispanic is 0.8, Asians at 0.7, Hispanics at 1.4. You see that we're leading there at 1.7. Age 65 and older, black people are leading at 2.0, white non-white and Hispanic at 0.8, 1.0 Asian and Hispanic at 1.9, black people at 2.0. This is the ratio of proportion in poverty related to total population by race and age. And we know that we're in that condition due to the lack of generational wealth in this country, and that is the truth.
Tell the truth.
Black people are disproportionately homeless, making up only 29% of New York City's residents, and 35% of different whites are unrepresented. So 35% difference. Whites are underrepresented, making up 32% of New York's residents and 22% difference. Black people making up that 29%. That is serious. Let me also let you know something else that you need to know that's very important here when it comes to this homeless issue we have. So this is why I'm saying we can't afford to be absorbing all these migrants and people coming over. Now, somebody out there going to say, oh, you're speaking hate, you're hating against other people. No, what I'm saying is we can't afford, not only as a country, but black people, we can't afford for this impact like this, because it impacts us who need these social services in cities that we've been living in all our damn lives from generation to generation. And then other groups can just come on over here and get everything set up for them when they're going through a struggle, and they just push us to the side. And then you got Mayor Adams talking about this isn't about comparing people. I mean, he's supposed to be a Democrat. He a black man. He running a city that has, yes, New York is an international city with many different people of different cultures. I understand that. But brother, you got to understand that your own people that look like you are the hardest hit in your city by this situation. The minority, the most minority in the groups, I don't like that minority group, make up a large share of homeless population than they do of a general population. You hear what I just said? Okay. The area, that bar where it says black, that blue bar, that's black people. 2 or more races is the purple. American Indians is the blue. The light blue is Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander. Asian is in the brown color. White is in the white bar. So you see where we make up by race the largest number U.S. population in the blue, Black people make up the most homeless in the U.S. population. Homeless population for ethnic, we've got Hispanic and non-Hispanic right there. But the top list you want to look at breaks down the homeless population numbers. Let me also do this to you. I'm going to bring this brother on here, a 15-minute video where he breaks some things down. He's an activist. He was homeless himself. He goes around New York helping those that are homeless. This is Brother Sham. I got a beautiful video for you to see about this brother right here. As I bring myself on the screen here with all delivered speed, I want to break something down to you right now. This is very important. Okay. Homelessness in New York City has reached its highest level since the Great Depression of the 1930s, with Black and Hispanics residents disproportionately being affected. Okay. The nonprofit Coalition for the Homeless Report made this report. This is the report. 57%. Do you hear what I'm saying to you, folks? Do you hear what I'm saying to you? 57% head of household in shelters are Black people. 57% of head of households in shelters are Black people. So you see what I'm saying? The immigrants come over, they're rolling out the red carpet for the immigrants or for the migrants. Roll out the red carpet for them, and when it comes to the population that's already there, that's in most need, you just sort of like, we give them whatever we got to give them. Just give them anything, that's okay. These folks come over here as migrants, you're rolling out the damn red carpet. 32% are Hispanic, but 57% are Black. You see the disproportionate number there. Latino, 7% are white. 7% are white. Less than 1% are Asian American, Native American, and 4% of unknown race and ethnic. I hate when they say unknown race and ethnic. According to the Coalition for Homeless, in January of 2022, ladies and gentlemen, approximately 48,413 cities and residents were homeless in the city of New York, according to 15,057 children who slept each night in the central municipal shelters system. In addition, a near record of 18,749 single adults slept in shelters each night in January 2022. If Black people are at 57% of most of the homeless in New York, then we make up a big portion of those numbers. The numbers of homeless in New York sleeping compared to homeless families, homeless single adults have higher rates of several mental illness, addictions, disorders, and other several health problems. So you have a mental health issue on your hands in New York. So when you bring in an influx of migrants who now create a whole set of problems because they're being shipped off from these southern states, which really should be their freaking problem to deal with, you should send them right back. New York, LA, you can't afford to take in an influx of migrants and provide all these services when you haven't even done right by the people that live there, that pay taxes or paid taxes at one point in time in their life before they went homeless and had mental health problems. You got veterans out there, military veterans of the Vietnam War that's sitting out there, people that were hit on hard luck, people who've had some mental health problems, maybe some drug issues. You haven't made that right in your city. The number of homeless in New York sleeping each night in these municipality shelters, these shelters now at 15% or higher. It's 15% higher than it was 10 years ago in New York, ladies and gentlemen. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Thank you for the super chat. You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
I'm going to get to the video, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because they're going to be very intriguing. The number of homeless and single adults is at about 92% higher than it was 10 years ago. They got a serious problem in New York and a serious problem in Los Angeles as well. They cannot afford to be a sanctuary city. This is why my premise tonight is that it was a mistake And there's people out there that's going to probably not like what I'm saying because they probably feel that, hey, we should open up our arms to help people. Mayor Adams said that this is a country that helps people in need. Well, why don't you help the people who actually freaking been living there? Who were functional citizens at one point in time? What I'm telling you, San Francisco's got a problem with fentanyl and drugs and all kind of ratchet shit going on in their downtown area. And I lived there for many years at one point in time. LA's got problems. New York's got problems, and there are probably many other places that I haven't even mentioned yet. They should have never become a sanctuary city. You can't afford it. How can you be a sanctuary city and take in hundreds of people when you're having a struggle with dealing with the people that are actually citizens there? Citizens who are in bad need, citizens who have mental problems. And now you're taking in an influx of people who are claiming that they're here for asylum, and you don't even know if they're lying, if they're also criminals in a country that they came from. And the majority of the individuals that are coming into New York are men. There's a very small number of women and children. They'll paint the picture that it's a whole bunch of women and children when it's really mostly men. And you don't even know if these men have a history of sex crimes. Oh, yeah. And already in New York, the bodegas are saying that they want to hire these migrants and give them jobs. You're going to give jobs to migrants who just got there, but you're not talking about giving jobs to people that's already been there, who are actually citizens of the country. And I think what happens is that when you are defined as a migrant and you're here for asylum, this is the way our laws are so weird. The minute you claim asylum, the states or the country is obligated to give you all these services. This is going back to November, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to me very carefully. In November 2019, the estimated number was at 77% of adult families and 68% of single adults and 53% of families with children sleeping in shelters had at least one disability. We're talking about people who are citizens of the country, not migrants, not illegals who came in of their own free will to come over here and took a chance. And we didn't ask them to come over here. They come over here their own free will. They came over here. Some of them are running from asylum, and there's some that might just be running a game on you and claiming that because they're working for the cartel or they're running away from their criminal history in their country where they're going to be persecuted. So they run over here and claim asylum to escape from persecution. I've actually dealt with guys in prison who had that sort of background.
Tell the truth.
The homeless single adult experiences a higher rate of addiction disorders, mental health issues, and other severe health disparities. New York official announced a plan to remove the homeless from stations. So what's happening in New York, and you probably heard about this, is that they've had an influx of homeless people sleeping on the subway. And the order, I think, coming from Mayor Adams was to remove them from the subway. At one point in time, they were opening up opportunity for them to be able to sleep and live in these really nice hotels. And the people in those hotels wanted them out. You're going to see that in the video that I'm going to show you. Now, this is very important here. Studies have shown, ladies and gentlemen, that the cause of homelessness in New York, for the most part, is based on evictions, inadequate affordable housing, job loss, domestic violence, and living in hazardous housing structures, meaning they lived in a house or they lived in apartments that were condemned and they had nowhere else to go.
Tell the truth.
Now, with that said, folks, let me go to the next part of my presentation. I really appreciate everybody that's here right now. I want to say peace to Nikki C. Divine Perfection. Thank you for being here, sister. Kimberly, thank you for being here. Black Anonymous, thank you for being here. Shaka, thank you for being here. Reese from Philly, thank you for being here. Golden Melanin, thank you for being here. Telescope 3, Miss Tiffany, thank you for being here. Jackie, thank you for being here. Little Hurdle, thank you for being here. Empress, Goddess, thank you for being here. Deborah Guns, thank you for being here. If I missed any super chats, I apologize to anybody that might have super chatted me and I missed the super chat because I was going through my monologue right now. Highly favored, thank you for being here. 12 hours, you live in New York. You know better than I what I'm talking about. Brother DOD is in the house. Tammy Dorsey is here. And he says, and she agrees. Carlos T is in the house. Thank you for being here. Earl Owens is in the house. Really appreciate you rocking with the program. Stephen Gilmore, YouTube channel. Thank you. Jeffrey Jones, 357. Thank you for being here. Brother, oh, wait a minute. Jeff Johnson, 357. Let me say that correct. Jeff Johnson, 357. Thank you. And he said this right here. He says 10 million fund services for migrants in D.C. Yeah, D.C. is another problem, brother. I don't know if you live in D.C., but remember, Mayor Bowser, they just approved letting these folks have the right to vote. What's up with that? So black people, we struggle every year. We've struggled through history to get the right to vote. And every year they're messing around with trying to keep us from being able to vote with all these little slick antics. And then these folks can come over here illegally or just to work on a visa and bam, they get the right to vote and have no skin in the game. This is because the Democratic Party is saying the Democratic Party is caping for immigrants and migrants that come over here either illegally or seeking asylum because the Democratic Party is looking at them as votes. They're looking at them as votes. If they can get good inroads with these people, they figure they're going to vote for us. Why else that when Kamala Harris and Biden got elected in the office, the first thing they kept saying is what they were going to do about the immigration issues. When black people ask questions about reparations, nobody wants to talk. You got Raphael Warnock. Every time you ask him a question about reparations, he's ducking and dodging the goddamn question.
Tell the truth.
Let me play this for you all because I don't want to hold you all day today, but I appreciate it. We got Yalfi's in the house. There was somebody else that came in here, another sister that I know, and I wanted to say hi to her. We got Golden Gold in the house. Oh, Reliable is in the house. I think Oh, Reliable, I'm just going to mod you up with that one. I know who you are. We got RY in the house, which RY, I think, might be in the house here. Let me just look at my other board here. There's somebody else that I missed that I hate missing. We got Sister Iman in the house. I hope I'm saying that correct. We got Ann in the house. And there was somebody else that came in that I know. I really appreciate everybody, but it was somebody else because this is a sister that's been really supporting the channel behind the scenes. Last Call is in the house. Cool Gen 87 is in the house. I missed a few people. We got IXL is in the house. Emmanuel Briggs is in the house. Thank you for being in. Big Dog Philly OG is in the house. Y'all check out Big Dog Philly OG is in the house. Alan Christian is in the house. Thank you for being here. Just want to we got Brother Rob is in the house. Just want to give some respect to people. We got Natural Alicia in the house. Natural, thank you. And with that said, let's get to the video that you need to see that kind of adds to what I'm talking about right here. And let's get to it right now. And here we go.
Set up on 6.4 acres on Randalls Island, Tent City is now complete and is expected to house at first 500 single adult men. Over 18,000 asylum seekers have arrived in the city since the spring, overflowing the city's shelter system and forcing the city to set up these tent shelters.
If you're a single adult man, you're going to come here to this facility starting tomorrow.
When migrants first walk in after intake, they will see a recreational room set up with rows of couches, TVs, Xboxes, and board games. There will also be a phone bank so migrants can connect with family in order to find more permanent housing.
We can do that in 24 hours, maybe even less. Many times, it's going to take longer than that. It could take days.
Next, there is a cafeteria that will provide migrants with 3 meals a day, and snacks, coffee, and tea will be available 24/7.
Those meals are all culturally appropriate. It is South American fare. The menu rotates on a regular basis.
In the next tent, asylum seekers will be staying in this refugee camp-style setup. This tent has 449 beds, but there is also a second tent next door, also filled with cots if the city needs to expand.
Right next door in the other shelter dorm, there's another 449. We're only opening up this location, this hook right now, for 500.
There is also laundry services on site, showers and lockers for migrants to store their belongings. The tents are kept at 70 degrees. The curfew for migrants will be 10 p.m. Buses are expected to run at least once an hour from this location, and every person entering will also be tested for COVID.
Anybody that tests positive for COVID is going to immediately be taken to one of our isolation trailers.
There will also be 24/7 security here. The mayor's administration once again pleading with the state and federal government for any sort of financial assistance. To date, Governor Kathy Hochul and the federal government haven't provided a single cent to help the city. Reporting from Randalls Island, I'm Morgan Mackay, Fox 5 News.
All right, everybody. So I want to lay this out. There you have it right there. So you can see they got plus amenities. Now, I'm not saying that they're living on gold, but I'm saying when you see what the brothers are getting in the shelter that's not that far for them, they are talking about Mayor Adams in his and how he has sort of like let them for debt. And then Adams says, oh, we don't want to be doing no comparisons. And he's talking all that, raccoon type talk. All right. Raccoon type talk. And no. That's one of the brother. That's Sham, you're going to see Sham giving him a hug, because that was back when they were allowing them to live in the hotel. But guess what? Sham had a smile that day, but he didn't have no smile no more, because you look at my thumbnail, that's him on there with a 30-day notice to get out, because the people wanted them out, and the mayor eventually flipped on them and got them out. You see how they all came together very quickly to deal with these migrants. You had the white guy on there talking about, oh, we could do this in 24 hours. We could do this in one day. We could do this. Then you have the other administrator talking about meal prep, and we're going to give them culturally appropriate food. Right? And we're going to make sure we make everything hospitable for them. And when you see what the brothers are getting in their shelter in a city that they've been living in probably all their life.
Tell the truth.
This is why we always say over here, black people, we have no friends. We have plenty of enemies. We only have ourselves. This is why you should stop using the word people of color. Because when you use the word people of color, you include people in your plight. They got nothing to do with your plight, and they're not even being treated like you. These people are being treated better than the black people that are homeless in New York, or the homeless in general in New York. But they make up 57% of the homelessness in New York is made up by black people who have been there for many years. And these folks just got here like yesterday, and they're already setting them up. Now, they can't even get more than 2 people over there, but I'm saying to myself, well, then if you can't get enough of these migrants in that shelter for some reason, why don't you utilize it to help the people that live in New York already, who've been there and are actually citizens? Let me tell you something about New York that you may not know. And you may say, wow, that's a lot of money that they spend on homelessness. Check this out. New York spends about $3 billion on dealing with the homelessness. They have spent about $3 billion. I know that's a hell of a lot of money, but check it out. This is what's going on in New York. You say that's a hell of a lot of money, but let me tell you what's happening to the money. Even though they're spending $3 billion to try to deal with the homeless problem in New York, check out what happens. This money, out of this $3 billion, this money is going to nonprofits, it's going to private organization, public organization, and charitable organizations. But guess what? There's been tons of investigations in New York over the misappropriation of these funds by all of these organizations. So you've got profiteering going on in New York. Money that's supposed to go to the people that's there, that's being misappropriated, and profiteering that's happening in both the nonprofit organizations in New York around the homeless issue, the private organizations, and the public.
Tell the truth.
Misuse of funds happening in New York around this issue. So somebody is getting a bag off of money that's supposed to help the people that's already there. The migrants come in because you got these governors in these other southern states that are putting them on buses and sending them right up to New York. Let me ask 12 Veils, because you are from New York. Do you remember ever voting on a measure in New York to make New York a sanctuary? Anybody in here from New York or Los Angeles? Raise your hands. Does anybody remember a measure on the ballot for you to vote whether you want to be a sanctuary city? Because they should have never made these places sanctuary cities without the people that live there, who already know what the problems are there, to vote on it. So I want to ask some of you, Chicago, I think Chicago's a sanctuary city. Y'all got problems in Chicago, Brother Rob. Hell, Rob, I'm going to get all over Chicago right now. I've got articles I haven't even touched on. Do you know that black people not even getting the contracts in Chicago, Rob, and Natural? That there are less black contractors getting the contracts that the Hispanic population or the Spanish-speaking population, they're getting all the contracts. If you're a contractor, do you know that black people are leaving Chicago? They are leaving. Their neighborhoods have been shrink. I got a whole damn article showing how the neighborhoods, especially in Inglewood, have been shrinking over time because black people are leaving. Not to mention the mail fraud that y'all got going out there, where people are using master key boxes to get into your mail and make false checks. You got a lot of problems in Chicago. So Chicago, we got a lot of problems, and therefore you can't afford to be dealing with an influx of migrants when you got other issues happening in Chicago. We already saw that Los Angeles, how they're trying to carve up the city and carve black people out of the political scene in Chicago. You saw it with that lady, Nori Martinez, Gil Chodella, Kevin DeLone, and that Ron Havera, who was the president of the Labor Federation in Los Angeles. We can't afford it. Now, I'm gonna give you a review again. I want y'all to see this again. This is what these people are getting. This is what they're getting in their setup in their camp, okay? And when you see what the brothers are getting in the shelter not too far, it's going to make your lips drop. So here we go. They're getting the X boxes, right? Right?
Tell the truth.
They got some cocks. Okay, it's not beds. I mean, it's better to sleep in a bed than something like that, but it's better than sleeping on the streets like a lot of the homeless in New York are sleeping on the damn streets. You got some recreational activities right there for them. You got some plush televisions and the Xboxes to look at. You got a temperature controlled tent that they put together within 24 hours or so. You got the ability to make phone calls. You got laundry. You got the ability to wash your clothes, things of that nature. You've got a cafeteria that's set up for you. Let me let y'all look at that right there. Again, let y'all see that right there. Recreation materials. Hear that right there?
You're listening to Information Man.
All right,
Please
everybody.
Make sure to subscribe to his
All
channel.
right. So now let me let you see this right here. This definitely tells the tale of it all. Let's hear what the brothers are saying right here. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Tonight, over his new shelter for migrants on Randalls Island.
And his critics are the men who live in a homeless shelter just yards away from this new facility. CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer is here now with what some are calling a tale of two shelters. Marcia?
Well, Dana and Dick, if you're forced to
Tell
live
the
in a
truth.
65-year-old former psychiatric hospital that's been turned into a men's shelter, you can't help being jealous of the soft landing the city is providing for migrant men newly arrived from South America, especially if you have a bird's-eye view of the new facility.
We get treated better. They get treated better than us. That's not fair.
They treat you wrong like you're lower than nothing.
Gabriel de la Cruz and Lee Brown live in a men's homeless shelter that is about 350 yards as the crow flies from the new tent city for migrants opened by the city this week. But in terms of treatment and quality of life, the centers are poles apart. The pictures tell the tale. Men at the migrant center, who are only supposed to be here for 4 days, have a recreation room with multiple TVs, plush couches, telephones for calling home, Xboxes, foosball tables, and games. The recreation room at the homeless shelter, where men stay indefinitely, has a single TV and
Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. They got a single television, no plush, not a roll of TVs. They got one TV, and then they got hard plastic chairs to sit on. It's what they got in the men's shelter in New York, where you have a large number of black men.
The centers are poles apart. The pictures tell the tale. Men at the migrant center, who are only supposed to be here for 4 days, have a recreation room with multiple TVs, plush couches, telephones for calling home, Xboxes, foosball tables, and games. The recreation room at the homeless shelter, where men stay indefinitely, has a single TV and uncomfortable molded plastic chairs. That's it. The migrants have a cafeteria with condiments on the table, a rotating menu of South American specialties, even bottled water and soft drinks in coolers. There are no condiments on the tables at the shelter. Water comes from a red and yellow jar.
Look at that. Look at that shit. Look at that. Look at that. Now, everybody in the chat room, please bear with me. Put a 7 in the chat. Put a number 7 in the chat room if you had a chance to hear how they're getting plush with things like they got the water, right? They got the water. Let me put this right back. They got that. They got all these things.
Room with multiple TVs, plush couches, telephones for calling home, Xboxes, foosball tables, and games. The recreation room at the homeless shelter, where men stay indefinitely, has a single TV and
a single TV for the black men, because this place has got a lot of black men in it. A single television that looks like it's got some kind of guard over it so you can't take it off. I don't know. A single TV and some hard-ass plastic. Check this out. Chairs to sit in.
Uncomfortable.
The migrants get nice couches to sit in that are cushiony. And these black people have been in the country before these folks was even thought of.
Molded plastic chairs. That's it. The migrants have a cafeteria with condiments on the table, a rotating menu of South American specialties, even bottled water.
They get a South American specialty of rotating food. The brothers in that shelter right near this place don't get rotating food, and they don't have a nice fridge like this to go in and get drinks and milk and things of that nature. And these are brothers who probably were in the military, probably had jobs where they were paying taxes, probably been born in New York, been in New York all their life, and gonna probably more than likely die in New York. These folks get over here over a few months that they've been driving them into New York, and they're already setting them up real fine and dandy. Why don't they let some of those brothers in the shelter benefit from this camp that they're using, since they don't have that many migrants in it? Let's continue.
And soft drinks and coolers.
And soft drinks.
There are no condiments on the table.
Boom. Right there. I'm going to stop it right there. This is what they get at the shelter. And the reason why I keep stopping this, because I want y'all to hear what the Uncle Tom actually, if you know the history of Uncle Tom's Cabin book, he saved the runaway slaves. It was really Sambo and Gumbo. That's the word we really should be using. It was really Sambo and Gumbo who were the ones that betrayed us. And these raccoons out here. You're going to have the raccoon mayor sit up here and say, let's not talk about the differences that people are getting. See? And this is supposed to be our democratic leadership you got in New York. And he'll be telling you after he runs for mayor again, or he runs for Senate or Congress, y'all should vote for me. Look, I want y'all to take a look at that. That's what they get. They get a bucket. That's one of those coolers that you see on a high school football team. And look at the cafeteria. It's not plushed. But these people get this. Look at this. They get this. They're going to put the food in there for them. They're going to get rotating menu. Look at that. They got nice chairs. All the condiments are set up very nicely. Let me play this back before I go to the next video.
Condiments on the table, a rotating menu of South American specialties, even bottled water and soft drinks in coolers.
I want y'all to see what I'm talking about.
On the tables at the shelter, water comes from a red and yellow jug, and the meals, overcooked mac and cheese appears to be a staple.
Oh, the food is garbage, man. Forget about it. The food is just garbage, man. It's not cooked well.
Lee Brown says the elevators are always broken.
I'm a diabetic. Right now, I got to walk up 6 flights of stairs. 7 flights of stairs.
Both men say Mayor Adams should even the playing field.
He should make it even. We've been here for the longest, and we're getting treated the worst.
I put the question to...
Listen to what that brother just said. They should make it even. We've been here the longest. Black people, we know we are foundational in this country. We've been here the longest, and they getting treated better than us. And then you're going to hear what Mayor Adams says as he gets into his raccoon act. And I'm going to be honest, I want y'all to look at the two black people that's in the back that's got those pink hoodies on, and tell me in the chat room, do you think that in the back of their mind, as they listen to Mayor Adams, in the back of their mind, they're probably saying, this Negro is talking some bullshit.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
I want you to notice their body language. They know that Mayor Adams is full of bullshit. Let's hear it right now.
To the mayor.
This is not about comparing those who need assistance and care from the city. We're not doing that. There's always going to be reasons that people are going to feel as though someone else is getting.
Freeze it right there. Look at the two black people with I don't know why they got them pink hoodies on. I guess maybe they're wearing that for breast cancer or something like that. But look at the two black people in the back. Especially the one to the left. I think that's a lady. I don't know. Nowadays, you don't know who's a woman and who's a man anymore. You just don't know. It's the kind of world we live in now. But I want you to look at their expression. You know they're saying to themselves, this Negro is setting up here. Listen to this babble, this jivel babble from Mayor Adams.
To feel as though someone else is getting something better than them. My job is to make sure everyone gets a place to sleep that's safe, 3 meals a day, and the support that they need so they can cycle out of being in the shelter.
The mayor ducked the question.
You know that's bullshit what he just said.
For the 21,000 asylum seekers who have now arrived here will force the city to cut other services.
And it's an economic challenge. We need money from the White House. We need to allow people to be able to work.
Well, so far, the city has not received a dime from the Fed, but the mayor said he was grateful for new border policies that have slowed the flow.
So basically, they have not received anything from the federal government. Biden, his administration, not giving much money. They're leaving it up to the states to deal with this. But the area that really bothers me about Adams is that he sort of said, I don't want to get into comparisons. How can you say that to say that when those brothers said that they've been there for a long time and they're seeing a double standard in how migrants are being treated compared to black people that are not being treated very well, and they're in shelters and they are homeless, and 57% of your constituents are freaking homeless that happen to be black, Mayor Adams. And you're going to sit up there and say, let's not get into a comparison when you just given the migrants a plush environment to be able to live in while they try to seek their asylum. And you only got 2 that showed up. So why don't you make that available for folks in New York who need that help and they need those living conditions? Let's analyze the bumbling raccoon again, shall we?
Comparing those who need assistance and care from the city.
Listen to the raccoon.
There's always going to be reasons that people are going to feel as though someone else is getting something better than them. My job is to make sure everyone gets a place to sleep that's safe, 3 meals a day, and the support that they need so they can cycle out.
Let me just stop right there. NY, be specific. What is not true? What is not true? I want you to explain what is not true versus what is true. What is true and what is not true? Are you saying that Mayor Adams did not say out of his mouth right here? The news reporter said that she talked to him about the disparity between the black men that are in the shelter not that far from the camp, which they have not been able to fill up with migrants, by the way, which is why I'm saying they should give the opportunity for the homeless that live in New York that didn't migrate there or didn't run from some other country there, give them the opportunity to use those facilities. Because he's saying out of his own mouth right here, I'm going to play this again, that we shouldn't do a comparison. But you just saw for yourself through investigative reporting that the brothers that are living in the shelter are living in much poorer conditions than what they set up for the migrants. So I need NY, unless you're just sitting up here capping and trolling me, if NY doesn't explain what they disagree about, they're going to be gotten rid of out of this chat room. So ladies and gentlemen, the mods in there, NY, best to have an answer to my question. Explain what are you disagreeing with. I don't have a problem with people having a difference of opinion, but NY, explain what do you mean? All right, NY, you're out of here. See, you're playing games. Let me play this back. I just want to know when a person says that, I want to know what their perspective is. And let's play this again.
It's not about comparing those who need assistance and care from the city. We're not doing that. There's always going to be reasons that people are going to feel as though someone else is getting something better than them. My job is to make sure everyone gets a place.
But they are getting something. Everybody, if you agree or disagree with me, do you, from what you just witnessed and what you probably have already seen yourself, doesn't it or doesn't it not look like that the camp that was set up for these migrants looks a hell of a lot better than what those black men are dealing with at the shelter that's not that far from that tent camp? Does it or does it not look better? Did you see in their recreation room a pool table, plush television, an Xbox, nice sofas? The investigative reporter said they've got hard plastic chairs, one TV. They've got macaroni, which the guys themselves said is cooked very poorly. They've got broken elevators. And they're saying that to Mayor Adams, we've been here first and we're getting treated as less. Is there anything wrong about what I'm saying and what I've also have shown you? Let's hear the rest of the raccoon talk.
To sleep, that's safe, 3 meals a day, and the support that they need so they can cycle out of being in the shelter.
Let's go right back to that again.
It's not about comparing those who need assistance and care from the city. We're not doing that. There's always going to be reasons that people are going.
He said we're not doing that. So basically, he's basically telling you and me, I'm not going to address the concerns of those brothers living in that shelter who make up that 57% of those that are homeless in the city of New York, who you would be asking to vote for your ass, Mayor Adams.
To feel as though someone else is getting something better than them.
Thank you. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. 12 Veils is validating me. And the reason why I'm saying she's validating me, what's going on, Bloodsport? I'm gonna mod you up too, Bloodsport, in a moment. This is why she's validating me, ladies and gentlemen, because 12 Veils lives in New York. She's from New York. She knows what's going on better than I do. And for her to sit up here in my chat room and tell me that I'm 100% right, that I'm speaking facts, that's all the validation I need when I got a New Yorker who lives there, who's saying what I'm saying is facts because she probably has seen it herself.
Tell the truth.
Miss Tiffany is saying there is not enough housing for people needing housing as it is. Where are they going to, exactly, where are they going to live? New York is already overcrowded. The housing there is expensive. People are already moving out. Look, these problems are all over the country, Jasmine Virgo. These problems are all over the country, 12 Veils. Yafi, thank you for being here. Miss Tiffany, these problems are all over the country. We got, look. I did a show talking about Atlanta, Georgia. You got a high homeless rate amongst black men in Atlanta, Georgia, a city that's supposed to be run by black people, and you got problems there where they're spending, remember that show I did? They're spending more money on dog shelters. Should I say it again?
Tell the truth.
They're spending more money on dog shelters in Atlanta, Georgia than they are on the housing problems for homeless black folks in Atlanta. I talked about that in a video. Dog shelters. Dog shelters. They're cutting bigger budgets to make sure that dogs have a home while black folks live on the streets. So dogs, four-legged dogs, are more important than two-legged people who talk, who can think, who can pay taxes, who could probably get a job and clean themselves up and get back on their feet and be a productive member of society. But a dog who depends on someone to feed it and rub it and walk it, and things of that nature, that pisses all over the damn place, they're seen as more important than the people who are homeless in Atlanta, Georgia. I did that story not too long ago. Then you got what's happening in L.A. with the Skid Row. Now, Governor Newsom, to his credit, has been trying to spend money to deal with the problem. But check this out. Just like in New York, we got a problem with migrants being shipped off here in California. Now we got to deal with their issues when we haven't even dealt with the issues of citizens that live here, man. We can't help everybody. We can barely help the people that freaking already live here as citizens. Gas prices are $6, $5. How y'all feel? What's going on, Mike B? Good to see you over here. I mean, what y'all think about it, man? What do y'all think about it? Bloodsport, where are you? I'm looking for you, Bloodsport. Bloodsport said this. Bloodsport 1 says this. New York City has so many young homeless, young black men in their late teens, young 20s, take the 4 or 5 train to 125th Street, and it's all there. Ladies and gentlemen, I got a video. I got an audio that I'm gonna play you, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And I got a video to play you. But let me go to this right here and let y'all see this last. So this is the last video about the issue around this particular camp. They don't have but 2 people that showed up. I don't know if more showed up, but I'm saying to myself, you spent $750,000 on this project, New York, in Randalls Island. They ran them out of Brooklyn because the people in Brooklyn were like, oh, hell no, we don't want this in our community. You can't put this in our community without letting us know what you're doing first. And they put them over in Randalls Island. and they only had 2 migrants that showed up. So why don't they use that camp to help people who are in New York that need it, that already are citizens of New York and citizens of the country? Listen to this right here. And another thing too, ladies and gentlemen, we as black people, listen to me. We have to stick together, work together, and stop fighting each other, because you're going to see in this video that I'm going to show you where you have a Hispanic or a Spanish speaking man who's an owner of a bodega, and he's already talking about hiring his people, Spanish speaking people, to get a job. As if we don't have homeless people in New York that are citizens who need a job too. Now, there's 2, you can tell there's 2 of these brothers that's from Venezuela. They look like they're black Latins. There's 2 of them that look like they're Afro Latins, because they're from Venezuela. But what I'm saying, my point being, is that he's already saying we got to get them jobs. So they're already about helping their people. Why can't we be about helping our people? We got Ray Alexander. Me and Ray Alexander are going to do an incredible show next week. Oh, you can't miss that one. Ray, thank you. Let me hit that right there. Ray, let me put this in here, and I'm going to put you up on the board. And Ray, I'm gonna do celebration music in a cluster here. Ray Alexander gave me a $10 super chat. Thank you. He says, keep telling the truth, information man. Keep up the great work. Hey, thank you, brother. I appreciate you always. Thank you very much. Thank you for that super chat.
Thank you.
And
for
a
the
clap
super
to you.
chat.
We got my man, Book of Alpha Romney, Dr. BOA, $25 super chat coming in. Yeah. Y'all check him out. For the brothers out there, if you need to get that game, get that information, get that. Now, this brother gives a lot of knowledge. It's good to listen to black men that give you knowledge, that give you uplift, build up your strength as a man, gives you principles that you can live by as a man, and how you move forward in this world we call America, in this world we call Earth. And this brother right here who just gave me a super chat, he moves in that way. So check him out. He's a very knowledgeable brother, very spiritual brother, very down to earth brother, has a big channel, a lot of following. I really appreciate you. I also appreciate my brother Ray Alexander, where we're going to do a hell of a show next week. And thank you, brother, again.
Thank you for the
He
super
says,
chat.
always taking a deep dive on the real issues. Respect, do you. Respect, do you, brother. All right. Let's get back at it and let you see this video, because I have an even better video for you to see that will put a crescendo on today's program. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Migrant men who were admitted after taking COVID tests. That's it. That after the tents were taken down at Orchard Beach in the Bronx and moved to Randalls Island, where the RFK.
So Orchard Beach in the Bronx, they were kicked out of there. 12 L's or anybody in there that's from New York? Are you familiar with that part of the Bronx, Orchard Island?
Triborough Bridge connects Manhattan, the Bronx, and Queens. The move cost at least $750,000, according to the Commissioner of Emergency Management.
And thank you,
the agency operating.
Once again, brother, thank you again for another super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Book. The brother, again, thank you. Definitely for the support. I appreciate it always. He says, he's shouting out everybody, shouting me out, and I appreciate you again. Got to get over there to his channel too, show him support. But thank you again, my dear brother. Let me finish this out right here and let you all hear the rest of this again to that brother. The Book of Alpha Romney, Dr. BOA in the house, y'all. Thank you for that super chat again.
Thank you for the super chat.
The site. So why the lack of migrants coming in?
He has no idea about the Randalls Island refuge.
See, now you can look at this. You can look at him and tell he a brother. He just, you could look at him and tell he Afro-Latin. You could tell he grew up in that country, Venezuela, and he speaks Spanish and all that sort of stuff. But you could tell he's a brother. But in them South American countries, they treat the black Latins or the black Afro-Latins, they treat them like shit. They have anti-black hatred even towards them. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Nobody wants to talk about that little piece, though. And Empress Goddess, $20 super sticker. I really appreciate that too, sister. Thank you. Empress Goddess.
Thank you for the super chat.
Has a great channel. She's trying to build her channel up. And y'all make sure y'all subscribe to her channel. Give her love. Make sure you check out, for the guys out there, definitely check out brother, as I said, let me put that brother back on the board again. That's Brother Book of Alpha Romney, Dr. BOA. Make sure you check out his channel as well. All right, let's continue.
That's word from a man who arrived from Venezuela 7 days ago, he says. His friend says he only heard about the migrant center.
He black, they black. Let's keep it real. They black people.
If their faith
They
guides
black
them
people.
there, then that's where they're gonna land.
They were on hand for the organization representing bodegas in the city, saying they want to give the new migrants jobs.
Unfortunately, we can't employ them if the federal government doesn't give them green light.
So he's saying green light. So basically, here you have someone of the Spanish-speaking community who steps in and says, we got to employ them, but the government's got to give them that green card light. So what does that show you? That shows you that people of the Spanish-speaking culture will always cape for their own. They will always open up their hands to their own. Although they do have racism, the way they treat darker skin versus the white skin. You look at Brazil. Brazil is a black country. But when you look at their commercials and their leadership, their council boards are 95% white Brazilians, but they do not represent the true population of Brazil, right? And they get treated very poorly over there. But what I'm showing you is that he's saying we got to get them jobs. See, black people, other groups will cape for their people. They will make sure they feed their people and get them jobs and be there for them. This is why we got to stop fighting each other. That's facts.
Tell the truth.
So that they can pay taxes.
But for now, they're not going to the tent facility and are relying on churches and other community organizations like New York Communities for Change, which says this temporary men's facility isn't enough to address the overall challenge.
Families arriving and 3-4 children with the mom, a single mom, or a whole family, husband and wife and children.
Now, this facility houses single men.
All right, everybody. What I want to say to you is I don't want to see children and women struggling, but don't be fooled by that. A majority of these migrants are men and some children and some women, but a good number of them are men. That's why they set that camp up over there on Randalls Island in the first place, specifically for the men. Now, I want to, before we go to the featured presentation that will end our stream today, I want y'all to hear what the Raccoon Man said. And then I want you to listen to everything that Adam said, the Raccoon Man, very carefully. And then this next video will open up your eyes. Let's hear him one more time, the Raccoon Man, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a place to sleep that's safe, 3 meals a day, and
Let's move that back, and here we go. He says, I don't want to hear
it's
no...
not about comparing those who need assistance and care from the city. We're not doing that. There's always going to be reasons that people are going to feel as though someone else is getting something better than them. My job is to make sure everyone gets a place to sleep that's safe, 3 meals a day, and the support that they need so they can cycle out of being in the shelter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the brother right here, Sham, who you're going to see in just a moment. He actually was hugged up with the mayor back when he was saying, okay, we're going to let those that are homeless get a place to live in this really nice part of New York where they had these hotels, really nice hotels, by the way, where you had people who had money that were living. They're like hotel apartments or something. So that's why he's hooked up with him right there. Let me show you a clip from this news clip. Eric Adams, NYC, likely next mayor, wants to turn shelter hotels into permanent housing for the homeless. Thousands of rooms in hotel shelters because of the virus, the pandemic, would become supportive housing. Unclear the plan. Well, they did make it possible for there to be housing, which is why he was hugging him. And I think this brother right here, Sham, did live in the housing. He is an activist in New York, working out there on the streets, talking to people that's homeless. Things changed and they got booted out of those hotels. He has a home himself, but he was homeless since the time he was young. And someone said in the chat room that you have a lot of people out there that are in their 20s that are homeless in New York as well, which is true. I want to play something for you, and you're right about that. I want y'all to listen to this real quick, and here we go.
The city must put a roof over your head. And if you're a single...
So basically in New York, they have a law, and the law says that you must put a roof over a person's head if they are homeless. So this is what this guy was saying, and here's the rest of what he's saying.
Male in Manhattan, you start here at the Bellevue. Shams wants to show me what happens when people enter the system.
That's Shams.
You come in here, they process you, and then they send you to an assessment shelter. The assessment shelter trying to find out, are you a working guy, or you're a person dealing with substance use disorder, mental illness, whatever, and then they send you to what they call an appropriate facility.
So this is ground zero for a lot of people.
Yeah, this is ground zero. This is where
they're going to talk to a young guy.
Shams was
and I'm going to show you the video
as a
next.
child in the 80s and has seen it all. Now he's trying to break the cycle he sees repeating in others, like 21-year-old Aaron.
How long you been homeless in the system?
About a year.
About a year.
20 years old.
It's obvious how one problem leads to another.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like I went through a lot of anxiety. I went through like separation, like anxiety through my family. I felt like alone. You understand what I'm saying?
My advice, focus on your housing and keep that going. Just move towards the housing.
Yes, sir.
And don't just let yourself be maneuvered or played or anything like that. This is a ecosystem that's about money.
It's really striking seeing Shams at work.
All right, let's see Sham right now. Let's see the brother in action in video. This is a 15-minute video, which will probably lead us to the conclusion of the program today. But I really want y'all to get something out of here. Share this video on your social media. I'm very surprised that I had these many people come over because I didn't really know, on YouTube, people like to look at more, polarizing type content and what's going on with the celebrities and all that kind of stuff. And I really appreciate my audience and everyone here who's been rocking with some of the content where I really talk about some really serious issues. And that shows me that we as a people, we do care about real issues, not just Kanye West and all his goofy ways. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Stopping everybody going past and asking them their story and then giving them advice and telling them where they should be going and who they should be ringing and what they're entitled to.
I can't sit up, I can't walk, I can't stay up for too
That's the brother right there.
I'm schizophrenic. I'm not supposed to be out here this late night. Guess what?
Terrell and his wife Madeline had been at a couple shelter. They've had to come here to re-register. So what's this?
And
it's supposed to be
let me
is it moldy?
Let me do something real quick. I want to play that back just a little bit. And then what I want to do, I have to do this. What's going on, Coco TV? Let me see. Is that my sister in there? Let me see. Put her. I need y'all. I got an alert. This is alert, a red 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 alert. A red alert, a red alert, a red alert, a red alert. Red alert. I always tell people to write people's names down and subscribe to people's channels and what have you. I need y'all to subscribe when you have an opportunity to Coco TV's channel. Write her name down, and when you have a chance to go over there, click on it, give her a subscribership, and then give her a like a video, and also hit the bell notification. I guarantee you, If you go to her channel, she has a family channel. She's doing big things on her channel. I guarantee you're going to love her channel. You're going to love her personality. She's a married woman. Her husband is really cool. Her son, she's giving me nothing but love on my channel. Good to see her in the chat room. Good to see Naps is in the house. People love talking about Skid Row. New York has their own Skid Row. Right, and that's what I've been talking about today, Brother Naps. I've been talking about focusing on what's happening in New York. You saw for yourself how they're giving the migrants all this nice plush amenities in their tent. And I think you might have missed it, brother. I showed what the brothers in the shelter in New York, not that far from that place, what they're getting. They're getting badly cooked macaroni and cheese. They got broken elevators. They got a poorly functioning cafeteria. They got one TV, that's it. And they got no recreational activities like an Xbox or a foosball or anything like that. They got hard plastic seats. I had a video where they were talking about it. This is my ending video with Brother Sham, who's on the thumbnail of my video, who is an activist in New York helping the homeless because he was homeless himself. He's out there in the streets. I want y'all to check out Coco TV. Check out Brother Naps, or what we know him as Nappy Yankee. Check out each other, write each other's names down, and definitely support what these people are doing on their channels. Another thing, you could easily send this into your Facebook, your Twitter. If you're using your cell phone, your tablet, you can easily pop it over there right now. We got Tommy Dorsey in the house, Natural in the house, Stephen Gilmore. It's a lot of people that's here. Golden Melanin, who's been rocking with me for a long time. Empress. But let me put this up here because I have to put this up here because, you know, when you're dealing with copyright issues, you got to make sure you do things the right way to keep YouTube off your butt. So what I want to do here is say to you all, warning, warning, warning. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyright motion pictures, videos, tapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. That's right. That's right. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
This is called fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, fair use, and is allowed for the purpose of criticism, news reporting, teaching, parody, which does not infringe the copyright under 17 USC 107, fair use. I'm using this video that you're about to see for the purpose of educating, teaching, observation, criticism, review, the whole 9 yards. And with that said, everybody, let's get back at it right now. Peace.
Up. I can't walk. I can't stay up for too long. I'm schizophrenic. I'm not supposed to be out here this late night. Guess what?
Terrell and his wife Madeline had been at a couple shelter. They've had to come here to re-register.
So what's this?
It's supposed to be
back to the basics.
Is it moldy?
Yeah.
Boom. I'm stopping that right there. As you can see, they're presenting this guy right here, who's the moderator of this video. They're showing that the bologna is moldy. That's what the people who live in New York, who are actually homeless, who ain't migrants, that's what they're dealing with. But the migrants come over here and they're going to give them a plush meal with all the cultural food and all that good stuff. And when they presented this to the authorities of those shelters, they wanted to get them the hell out. This is what's really going on. So this is why I'm saying, how can you make yourself without letting the people vote on it, make yourself a sanctuary city, take in migrants? I know that the migrants were sent there by these Republican states like Texas. Santa's sent people from Florida, and Abbott sent people from Texas. I understand that. But the reality is that these cities like New York and LA and the rest can't handle this influx like that. And I want to ask again to everybody in the chat room. When do you remember, if you live in a sanctuary city, them ever putting it on the ballot for you to vote to become a sanctuary city? Because I don't remember voting for any of this sort of stuff. I don't think anybody in New York was given the right to vote on whether they wanted to be a sanctuary city or not. This is just politicians taking things upon themselves because they're thinking about votes. That's what they're thinking about. Well, if I get these people over here, they become citizens, they gonna vote for me. All that type of goofy stuff. You know what I mean? Let's continue. Move it back just a little bit and go.
They've had to come here to re-register. So what's this?
It's supposed to be bologna for lunch.
Is it moldy?
Yeah.
That's what you get.
Fair use under 107.
They've had us there for a week, bro. Ever since we reported that, they've been trying to kick us out the shelter.
Because you were complaining about stuff, you think
like
this is
fair use on 107.
Yeah.
No.
It's disgusting. It really is.
And that's the reason why we got kicked out, because they used that against us. I wouldn't
Tell the
wish
truth.
that on my own enemy. I felt like I was still in prison, man.
This is why I do what I do, man.
Thank you all for being here today, too. I really appreciate you all.
Y'all hear me talk? This is what it's about. This is us.
Poppy, what's going on, brother Poppy?
Whole hotel.
And Jasmine Virgo, good to see you too.
Specifically designed for couples.
Mike B, I see you. Music Man, 1982. M Music Man, I see you. 82. Back to the basics.
Good luck, Madeline.
RY.
Hope it goes okay.
WMVMW444, I see you.
That's tough because they had been complaining about the conditions in their shelter. And that's probably why they were shut out.
The sad thing is that you can sit here all day.
Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet, folks. You haven't seen nothing yet, folks. You haven't seen nothing yet.
We contacted the New York Mayor's office for a response, but they didn't come back to us. What is true is that the shelters do prevent.
You hear that? He asked the mayor's office for explanation, and nothing came through.
Tens of thousands sleeping on the streets every night.
The thing that got him upset was that he was being given rotten
Deborah
food.
Guns, I see you.
Why would you feed adults this food and think it's sustainable? This is criminal to me.
Yeah.
And it's
Golden
about
Melanin.
money.
To Shams, there's a huge gap between the way the homeless are treated and what New York spends on the shelters, which can average $3,000 a month for each adult.
Listen, this goes back to slavery. In slavery, they fed us like this. Yo, give them the scraps. In COVID, when you look at the health disparities, one of the first things that came out, they said it's because of our diets. It's because of the way we eat. That's a correlation with what we got passed on through generations coming up from slavery, because all we was able to get was crap. And that is what they feed us in these shelters.
What's going on, Red Alert?
So there is a connection.
There is a connection,
And
huh?
that's what I speak to.
That's a connection right there. Whoa.
Tell the truth.
Fair use under 107.
Thank you so much, man. God bless you.
Fair use.
Despite the shelters, more than 3,000 people sleep rough on New York's streets. At least 60,000 are in the shelters, including more than 21,000 children.
But he's good otherwise. Yeah, he's good.
And you tell me if New York can handle an influx of migrants coming like gangbusters. They can't. They can barely help the people that actually live there as citizens. And this one right here is going to touch on the women too. So this gives you a complete idea of what's happening. Check this out. Fair use.
Despite the shelters,
Charlotte
more than
Man Gaming,
3,000
what's up?
people sleep rough on New York's streets.
It's a nightmare, that's right.
At least 60,000 are in the shelters, including more
Brother
than
Poppy.
21,000 children.
But he's good otherwise. Yeah, he's good.
But in Brooklyn, we found a tiny charity helping people escape the cycle.
Look at that beautiful child.
CHIPS was set up to help single mums.
How is the therapy going? The therapy, it's going okay.
The women are referred
Look at
here
that
by
baby
shelters
king,
and
y'all.
other
Baby
charities,
king.
but are handpicked To qualify, they must agree to various conditions and commit to finding work.
Were you compensated? No. Reason being is because I need the promotional work and because my name isn't really out there like that. I just want to make sure that you're being led in the right path and that you're not being...
Music Man, 1982. I think you're on to something, brother. I think they're trying to eliminate us, period. But my point in saying this, because I know there's going to be somebody out there saying, stop your whining, is that you just can't help but notice how they were so willing to put out a red carpet for migrants who you don't even know if these people have criminal background, because a lot of them are men. They're not all women and children. Most of them are men, and you don't know what kind of background they got. But you do know what you got in your homeless population in New York, and you know that it's riddled with mental health, lack of resources, money to get housing because the housing is too damn expensive there. And they give them better treatment. All I'm saying is New York made a big mistake when they made themselves a sanctuary city, and they didn't even allow the people in New York to take it to a damn vote. Sanctuary city meaning you're going to let people in from outside of the country to come in when you can't even take care of what you got. The people that are your people.
Taken advantage of, but I'm so proud of you. So I can come here.
Look at that baby
Lewis
king.
is a mentor to the women.
I love your mohawk.
Hello. Hi, Sharon. I'm Krishnan.
Hi, how are you?
Right, and they giving money to the Ukraine at the billions.
With just 8 rooms, they offer women a home for 1 year to get them back on their own feet.
Now, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. This brother right here, Jeff Johnson 357, just blew me away. He said, same for Ukrainians too. They set up shop in Virginia. Brother, you live in Virginia? Man, this brother he dropped some dimes about DC. So you hear what this brother is saying? They didn't set up a nice little spot for the Ukraine, and they coming too. And don't forget those Afghanis that they got brought over here. What neighborhoods you think they're gonna be living in, folks? Huh? You think they're gonna be in Beverly Hills? They'll be moving into places where black folks been living for years. And then it becomes a drain on resources. You just can't take in everybody. We barely can take care of the people that's already here, that's supposed to be here.
You know, it's Pampers, it's wipes. Mom just has to come in and just bring her own personal belongings.
I mean, what kind of state do the new mums?
Yeah, they don't care about the people that's born here, really Mega.
Terrifying.
You're right.
To be pregnant and not to have a place to stay.
You know, by the time they come here, they exhaust all other possibilities. You know, so they are stressed out. You know.
I hate to stop it, but let me stop. I got to remind, because people that came into the chat room that weren't here early on in the show, let me break something down to you that you may not know. This is about New York. This is why I'm saying they can't handle an influx of migrants. It's already, check this out. This was from the Nonprofit Coalition for Homeless. It's a report. 57%, of those of you who weren't here in the beginning of my show, 57% of heads of households in shelters are black. You hear what I said again? 57% of heads of household in New York are in shelters are black. 32% are Hispanic, 7% are white, less than 1% are Asian American or Native American, and 4% are unknown race and ethnicity. Do you hear what I'm saying? I played a video earlier where you had the men, black men that are in a shelter right next to that camp in Randalls Island saying, wow, them people getting treated better than us. They got Xbox, they got plush TVs, they got couches, we got hard plastic chairs to sit on in the recreation room. We don't have what they have. And Mayor Adams gonna sit up here and say, let's not do comparisons. Let's continue on with this program.
They're panicking. So my job is just to reassure them, you know, we are here.
Right. I got to agree with you, CBN Tech. My man is from New York here. What's up, man? Much wisdom to you. He says, which mostly leads to high rise in crime as well. Way too many homeless people who have mental issues are on the streets. That's very much dangerous to the regular public. And he's from New York. He knows what I'm talking about too. It is dangerous to the public. You're absolutely right. New York cannot sustain continuing to take in migrants. I'm going to ask you right now, CBN Tech Talk. When New York became a sanctuary city, was it put on your ballot to vote for it? Because I don't think people in New York even were given the right to vote on whether they wanted to be a sanctuary city or not. Let's continue.
In normal times, Rochelle makes a living as a singer. When COVID hit, she lost all her work and any means of providing for her new baby, Kabir.
Did you look at what
he says no?
Okay,
See?
My experience with that was basically one that left me stunned.
It's a damn shame.
I walked with my food preparation because this is protocol.
Fair use,
for
fair use,
someone
fair
in my
use.
position.
107,
And
fair use.
The guard took my food. He said, "You're not allowed to take your food in there." And it just felt horrible because I felt like no one listened to what I was saying. No one looked at my particular circumstances, and they just chucked me to the side.
So this place must have felt like a lifeline.
Lifeline, breath of fresh air, ray of sunshine, everything good and positive, rainbows, everything. This place allows me a chance to get back on my feet, to do the things that I have to do so I do not keep depending on the system.
This place is a great example of how support should work. You know, you have clients here who need the services, need the help for just a short bit of time, but then are very determined to get on, get out there and stand on their own 2 feet again. And it's a real contrast to the cyclical problems that we saw of men in those shelters who often felt they just couldn't escape it.
What's going on, 1SP? Almost didn't recognize you. Official 1SP, peace to you.
For most homeless people in New York, the way out is either a long wait for public housing or qualifying for a state-funded voucher and finding a landlord who'll accept it. Shams has just got a tiny apartment in Harlem, but the story of how he got here is decades long.
Prator Afro, how you doing, Prator?
Where did it all begin? I guess, you know, we could say that it began at the age of 2 when I was placed in foster care.
What did Nappy Yankee say?
My mother were heroin addicts.
Nappy Yankee says, and Nappy Yankee I think is in New York too. Nappy Yankee says, information man, keep in mind, it was what? It was Garretti who originally shut down all the mental institutions when he was mayor, which set down, Giuliani, I'm sorry. It was Giuliani who originally shut down all the mental institutions when he was mayor, which sent a lot of mentally disturbed people, veterans, out into the streets. It's the same thing that Reagan did when he was governor of California, Nappy Yankee. He released a lot of people out of Napa State hospitals and various hospitals in California, which is why we also have a homeless issue in the state of California. You're absolutely right. Peace. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
From the late 1960s and early 70s, and consequently I ended up in foster care.
He's now applying for a grant from a charitable trust to be able to continue as a homelessness activist.
When I got COVID, I was sent to a quarantine hotel, and by the 3rd day, I almost died. Give me a second. And I felt that this damn city, this country has done us wrong. And here I am.
What he just said. You hear what he just said?
I'm going to die like this.
You hear what he just said?
And after 21 days of quarantine, I re-entered the shelter system, the congregate shelter. And it was worse than when I left it. The coronavirus was all through the shelter. I said, this has to change.
I know that we don't know each other yet, and we're really thankful for just how much you shared and like the depth and vulnerability that you shared with. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You got quite emotional there, didn't you?
Yeah. 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 Y'all wasn't supposed to get that. But, you know, this is part of who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. I know that it can't be done without being real.
I mean, to what extent? Is there a homelessness industry and a shelter industry in New York?
It's millions of dollars. What are we talking? $3 billion, over $3 billion to service this industry. There's profit in this ecosystem. The same way.
Oops, that's what I was trying to say. There's profit in this system. The $3 billion that's being spent, as his brother is saying, is being spent on nonprofits, private and public and charitable organizations. But what's happening in New York is that it's been misappropriated. Tell me if I'm wrong or right. It's been profiteered. You got people that's profiteering off of the homeless system. He's right. It's a money maker to keep people in this condition. And this money, the $3 billion that he speaks of, has been misappropriated. New York has had money that's been misappropriated and profiteered. It's a damn shame. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
There's profit in the slave trade.
As soon as you make that jump, you go, whoa, that's quite a jump. You know, I mean, do you think that's a fair comparison?
In slavery, they traded us around like cattle. We was a commodity. They made money off of us. We didn't have any choice over where we go or what we do.
Do you feel like a commodity now?
Of course.
During the pandemic, shelters full of people became COVID hotspots. The city did act, moving hundreds from shelters into hotel rooms. But that sparked a whole new problem.
So Shams has asked us to meet him at the hotel where he was living until very recently. And it's a really controversial story that he's going to tell us about, because there was a big row about the people being put there, because it's right up here in the rich end of Manhattan. It's just here. It is that building there. It is a posh hotel. It's a big posh hotel full of homeless people.
Fair use under 107. Fair use.
Before getting his apartment, Shams was one of over 300 single men moved into the 4-star Lucerne Hotel on the Upper West Side.
It's a really nice part of Manhattan, and who wouldn't want to live in a place like this? But the row over the Lucerne Hotel became a question of, if you had the money to live in the Upper West Side, who do you want to keep out?
Some welcomed the homeless men with offers of help and open arms, but others were outraged and wanted them out.
I'm surprised how nice it is, to be honest.
If you go online on their website and you see the rooms and stuff, that's the rooms that we're in. And it was in September that the mayor said that we was not acceptable in this community and said we had to go.
So that's when on the thumbnail, if you look at my thumbnail, that's where he had to go. He got a 30-day notice. Right here, you see Sham hugging the mayor, which is Raccoon Adams, who said that other BS that I'm going to play for you again about we can't do these comparisons. He's hugging him because that's when they said, hey, we're going to let you guys move into the hotel on the Upper West Side. They're going to get it all set up, fixed up. And they did that. And then next thing you know, people wanted them out of the community when there was no evidence that they were harming anyone. And as a result, they got this 30-day notice, which you see on the thumbnail that I'm using for this today. Everybody in the chat room that's been rocking with the program, I'm so proud of everybody that's willing to watch this type of educational program that actually gives us awareness when you look at what's happening with these migrants. Now, you hear the Biden administration constantly talking about immigration and migrants. We hear this whole talk about migrants and immigrants, but there's little talk about what's really happening with people who are actually born here, went to high school, went to elementary school. They were somebody's baby, somebody's child. They had probably had a job at one point in time. They were probably a productive citizen who paid taxes. And now they're hit on hard times and they're homeless and may have some mental health problems. And we don't even give a damn about. We give more a damn about some migrants who, first of all, they have no business coming over here illegally in the first place. And even if they are trying to apply for asylum, they got to go through our system and they got to prove themselves out because we don't know them from a can of Ajax if they have a criminal background. I know from my experience, I have dealt with people who come from other parts of the world and they got a criminal background. They come here, commit crime, now they end up in our prison system. And they already had a criminal background, which is why they ran from their country. There are people who run for legitimate reasons of asylum, and then there are people who are running because they are criminals themselves. And we make it so easy for people just to come over. If any of our behinds were to go to any country in the world, France, Europe, anywhere in the world, do you think that we could stay in their country and demand to stay over there and demand this and demand that? They would put us back on something first thing that same day and ship ourselves back out. Look at all those Africans who were leaving West Africa, went over, they got on rafts and went into Europe or went into Spain. What did the Spanish government do? Put them on ships and took them right back. Let's talk about the Haitians. Remember the Haitians were across the border? Did they set up a nice camp for the Haitians with Xbox and clothing? No, they rounded the Haitians up and they put them on planes and send them right back to Cuba, right back to Haiti. Remember that? Have y'all forgotten? Remember I did a big show about that. Maybe was it last year? The Haitian, you had those officers on the horses whipping them like they were slaves. And the United States government put them on planes and flew them back to Haiti. Even though they were told once upon a time to come over here because of what happened to their country when there was the earthquake. They put them right back to Haiti. They didn't give them no plush camp with Xboxes and recreational and food that fits their culture and clothing and shelter and warm temperature and laundromat and all that kind of stuff. They put them on planes and shipped them right back. That was black people, Haitians. What about those black Cubans who wash up on the shores in Florida and you got the white Cubans who do what? Put them on put them on ships and take them right back to Cuba. If you're black, stay back. If you're white, you're right. And if you're brown, stay around. If you're a black person, you got to stay back and we're going to take you back. Now, imagine if these were Haitians coming over here for asylum. Do you think they would set up Randalls Island and give them all that plush goods? No, we already saw what the United States did. They put them on planes and flew them right back to Haiti. Now, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. If y'all know I'm telling the truth, put that 7 in that chat room. If y'all know what I'm talking about. Here we go.
A residents group mobilized, winning a legal fight to get the mostly black men moved. The 50 or so men still there will be transferred back to a shelter.
So do you think they didn't want homeless people here, or that they didn't want poor black people here?
Oh, definitely poor black and brown people. The reality is that this community, there's a lot of wealthy people in the community. And a lot of them feel like if there's too many black people in here, that
you hear what he's saying?
Goes down.
And if you're being really honest with you,
that's key. He said it's because they didn't like too many black people moving into the hotel apartments, that black people were going to bring their property value down. Do you hear what he's saying?
If you lived here and you'd bought your apartment, how would you have felt if you'd looked out and seen you guys here?
I would have looked at what the facts are. Fact is that this is COVID. This is a temporary situation. It's not permanent. It's done to protect.
That's right. We forgot that the pandemic had a effect as well with speeding up the homeless problem in New York as well and all across the country. But they already had these problems anyway before the pandemic.
People from getting COVID. So my humanity would supersede any thought of any issue of my rent value.
Yeah, Nappy Yankee, I know he said black and brown. That's a vocabulary that's going to take a while to get out of our people. We've been so conditioned to use that term, but we got to get out of that conditioning because the brown people are the ones that they were setting up the nice Xbox and the televisions and they got them the foams and they got all the setup for them. They were doing that for people that they would deem as brown people. The black people that have been living here for a long time, we get the short end of the damn stick. So we got to get out of that vocabulary. We're not in any solidarity with anybody. That's just how I feel about it. And y'all know it. Fair use, fair use.
Accused of
107, fair
snobbery and
use.
racism, the only member of the residents group prepared to speak to us on camera is Cheryl Warfield.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me stop right here. Cheryl, I really had reservations whether I wanted to show this sister talking like this, but I thought it was necessary because everybody that's your skin folk ain't your kinfolk, or everybody that look like they're your kinfolk ain't your kinfolk. She said some things that really kind of bothered me because, I understand the woman, she wants to be in a safe environment. She don't want no riffraff living around her. I get it. But the way this is very difficult. Let y'all hear this.
Says the men must be moved for their own welfare as well as the residents.
This is an issue about a community that is in crisis, a community where I felt safe, that I no longer feel safe. Should my safety be trumped by several hundred men who have been brought in temporarily that could end up permanently without getting the services that they need?
She's worried the hotel setting is inappropriate for people who may have serious mental health problems.
Now, I got to be honest. I can understand her concern for her safety as it relates to men who were homeless on the streets, who might have mental health problems, and knowing whether they're getting services or not, and if they could have a meltdown or some type of psychological meltdown that it could harm her if she's walking and getting on the elevator. I can understand that truthful part of where she's coming from, but that's as far as it goes. And we'll continue here.
Have you ever spoken to any of them?
I don't think I don't see how that would provide any specific value.
Some of the men themselves say the opposition is rooted in racism.
Absolutely not, because I am a person of color. I have lived here for 27 years.
Here we go again. Why are we conditioned to say that word? Why?
Tell the truth.
I have always felt welcomed here. The problem is that of safety. And I no longer...
One of the problems we have as a people, ladies and gentlemen, is that if one of us feels comfortable and we got everything going on for ourselves, we will assume that everything is okay. There's no racism. You might feel comfortable, my sister, and everything is going well for you, but it doesn't mean that racism doesn't exist for other people. See, because they don't see you as the threat. They see the black men as a threat as much as you see them as a threat because you have a concern for their mental health and the influx of them living in the building, and could they harm you in some kind of way? Let's continue.
Feel safe on the Upper West Side.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. You know, we all want to be safe. And I gotta be fair here. I gotta be honest. You know, let's be honest. Many of us, wherever we live in the world, we don't want people living around us that we may think put our safety at risk as well. We would probably have some reservations to ourselves, but I don't know. I can't speak for everybody. I'm kind of like in the middle. I kind of understand where the sister's coming from, but then there's another aspect to what I didn't like that she said, which is that it's not racism. And she doesn't see it that well because she's the one black person living in the building that is feeling like she's being treated fairly, but it don't always work that way, sister. Just because you feeling good don't mean everybody else is getting the same treatment for whatever reason. Once again, black women don't, and this is no disrespect to black women, but black women in compared to black men in general, I'm generalizing here, some, not all, but black men are seen as more of a threat to this society than our black women are in general. Okay.
The New York mayoral race is underway. Voting is in November, and activists, including Shams, are forcing homelessness onto the agenda.
The city and the state need to work in partnership to pass city and
Fair
state
use,
budget
fair
for
use,
the
fair
building
use. 107, fair
to
use.
rapidly rehouse all of the people experiencing homelessness. All right, tell the truth.
All right, everybody. I'm going to stop that right there and let that stop right there. I appreciate you all for being here and watching the program again. But as a reminder, let me show that other video again about how the black men in the shelter, not that far from where that camp is at, which they don't even have that camp filled up with these migrants. They only got about 2, maybe 3. They should let that be used by people who could probably use it right now, like people that are citizens there. But let me let you see something one more time.
Of life, the centers are poles apart. The pictures tell the tale. Men at the migrant center, who are only supposed to be here for 4 days, have a recreation room with multiple TVs, plush couches, telephones for calling home, Xboxes, foosball tables, and games. The recreation room at the homeless shelter, where men stay indefinitely, has a single TV and uncomfortable molded plastic chairs. That's it. The migrants have a cafeteria with condiments on the table, a rotating menu of South American specialties, even bottled water and soft drinks in coolers. There are no condiments on the tables at the shelter. Water comes from a red and yellow jug, and the meals, overcooked mac and cheese, appears to be a staple.
Oh, the food is garbage, man. Forget about it. The food is just garbage, man. It's not cooked well.
Lee Brown says the elevators are always broken.
I'm a diabetic. Right now, I got to walk up 6 flights of stairs. 7 flights of stairs.
Both men say Mayor Adams should even the playing field.
He should make it even. We've been here for the longest, and we're getting treated the worst.
I put the question to the mayor.
And there we go.
There's always going to be reasons. It's not about comparing those who need assistance and care from the city. We're not doing that. There's always going to be reasons that people are going to feel as though someone else is getting something better than them. My job is to make sure everyone gets a place to sleep that's safe, 3 meals a day, and the support that they need so they can cycle out of being in the shelter.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everybody. Peace.
Information is power. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
I want to thank everybody that gave me super chats today. I really appreciate that. Thank you for the super chats. Everybody that's been watching the show today, you really made me proud that I could do a program like this and I could get a big turnout like I did. That really, I gotta be honest, it surprised me. I didn't think, this issue and anybody would really care about this issue, but the fact that people came out and showed their support today showed me that I'm on the right path of doing content like this. I'm going to give you content sometimes where I interview people. Maybe it's more polarizing content. Maybe it's stuff like this that is polarizing, that makes you think. And anybody that says that there's not a double standard in how we are treated when we're in despair compared to how other people get treated when they come over here like Johnny come lately, they're lying to you. It is very obvious that they were all in on making sure that the migrants had a comfortable situation versus black people and other race of people that are homeless in New York. And I'm focusing for anybody out there that sends me a goofy comment on my channel saying, why are you just talking about black people? White people homeless too. The reason why I'm talking about black people primarily in New York being homeless is because according to the nonprofit Coalition for Homeless report, 57% of the homeless head of household make up the number of or black people that make up the people that are homeless in the shelter. 57%. Okay, 32% are Hispanics, 7% are white, 1% are Asian Americans, and none Native Americans, and 4% are unknown race of people. Okay, let me also put this up here for your educational purposes. Okay, breaking it down right here. And this is about telling the truth.
Tell the truth.
Black people are disproportionately homeless, making up 29% of NYC's residents. 35% difference. Whites are underrepresented and making up 32% of the NYC residents, 22% difference. Another thing that I want to show you to make it facts here is that right here, most minority groups make up large share of the homeless population in this country. Black people are making up where it says homeless population, that where it says blue, we make up the largest in that bar right there. Another thing too is someone said that a lot of young people are homeless in New York, and this is about ratio proportion to poverty related to total population by race and age. People 18 under 18 years of age, black people leading 1.8%. 18 to 64 years old, we lead 1.7% when it comes to poverty. Ratio proportion when it comes to poverty. We know that black people historically do not have generational wealth. We also know that there are black people that are middle class, upper middle class, black people that are some that are rich, some that live in economically deprived environments and do not have the opportunities. So that does exist. We do know, let's keep it real, that white people are the biggest participants when it comes to things like welfare programs. Let's just keep that real. But the difference is that white people have a system that's set up to benefit them, to help them out, and they're not demonized when they are homeless and under some type of struggle. We also know that there seems to be this love affair, particularly with the Democratic Party, when it comes to the whole issue around immigration and migrants, that they're willing to put out a hand to help these folks. Now, I'm not setting up here to say that you shouldn't help people. You should be a Ebenezer Scrooge. But what I'm saying is the first people that you should help are the people that are citizens that were born here, raised here, who helped build this damn country. You should be helping your homeland first before you start making yourself a sanctuary city like San Francisco, LA, places like Chicago, places like New York. A very big mistake, because those are major cities that already have resources that are being sucked up with very little resources when it comes to people who live there, born there, that need those resources. Now you bring in an influx of migrants who, by the way, should have been sent right back to where they came from. Texas should be held accountable for doing what they did. Santos and his racist ass in Florida, he should be held accountable. And of course, they sent migrants to what's that place? Martha Stewart or whatever that damn place out there in New York. You guys can say it for me. I can't think of the name of that place where they got the beach and the sand and all that kind of Martha's Vineyard or whatever they call it, the vineyard or whatever they call it. They send migrants up there, and I think it was wrong to send these people around this country like this. I think that was wrong because you're sending them to places that they may not want to be, and two, you purposely sent them a Santos, who's Republican, and Babbitt, who's Republican as well. You purposely sent them to places because they're sanctuary cities, because you want to poke at the Democrats. And the Democrats were so stupid to make these cities sanctuary cities, to bring more stress on these cities, to deal with people that they're not prepared to really deal with. Now, they're prepared to build something for them, which they did with those tent camps. but there's cities that are not even doing a good job when dealing with the people that are citizens there. And that's a problem. So the Democrats are going to have to address these issues when they want our vote and they ask us to vote for them. We should also be telling them, what are you going to do for us when it comes to reparations? We got black people that's homeless in this country. Think about this. Think about what reparations could do for all those black folks out there in New York and across this country in LA and Skid Row who are homeless. Right now, of course, you need mental health treatment because a lot of people are sick and have problems, which is one reason why they're homeless. You have to address those issues. You see, they have to get the services. You have to address those substance abuse issues. You got to assess and evaluate the environment that they're living in and what have you. I want to thank you all for watching the program again today. I'll be back live with something else. To everyone listening, and especially to the ladies, I'm probably going to go live maybe Wednesday night for about 30 to an hour, because I want to show you a video that's very important, and especially for the women out there and anybody. This is a report that you need to see because your health is what matters. This is going to definitely be something that affects women very much. And I need y'all to look at what I'm about to show you, and you need to look at it and look at it very carefully and take heed to it, because this is a health issue that is specifically going to impact black women in particular. And I'm going to be doing that video. It'll be a short video. I'll go live maybe on Wednesday, a surprise live stream. Y'all need to definitely pay attention to what I'm about to show you on Wednesday. With that said, I thank you, everybody in the chat room. Let me go over here and look at who we got here. So many lovely people that are out here supporting the show today. We got Jeff Johnson 357. If you're new to the channel, thank you. Immigrant policies is broken. Yes, they are broken. We got Black Man Unfiltered in the house. My brother saying, my brother, peace to you. Check out Black Man Unfiltered's channel. Check out the Black Man Unfiltered's channel. We had a big crowd today. People that came over here early on. We had a good crowd that came out. Good crowd still right now. Music Man, Music Man 1982, thank you. Earl Owens, thank you. Dever Guns, thank you. Sneezy Girl, thank you. Peggy Roster, thank you. Jasmine Virgo, thank you. Hand Throat, thank you. Let me see. Brother Briggs, Emmanuel Briggs, thank you for being here. Imani Briggs, thank you for being here. I want to say names correct if I can. Golden Melanin, thank you for your contribution today. VMW444, thank you for your contribution. You say they, let me see what you're saying here. They will be many who will still vote for the Democrats. They are in a stupor. Yeah. Well, don't get me wrong, though. The Republicans don't really have much to offer us either now, because both of these political parties are born of the same evil wing, a bird. Okay. They both do not offer us much, if at all. They do anything to keep us at the bottom class. Exactly. Highly flavored. Thank you for your statement. Highly favored. Thank you for your statement. Highly favored. Let me say that correct. Golden Melon says, you always take care of the home first. You take care of the home first. That's a major principle. We got Carlos T in the house. Thank you. You always take care of the home first. You're absolutely right. Hand Throw says, you don't mind us being overrun with migrants. Insane. I never said no such thing. I'm saying that we have a broken immigration policy where we allow anybody to come over here when you can't do this in any other country. We should have rules like any other country has. And we definitely need to think about, can we handle an influx of millions of people coming over? And then when they get here, now we're responsible for taking care of them. No, the country that they came from is the country that's responsible for these people. That's why when the Haitians came over, What did the United States do, ladies and gentlemen? They put them on planes and they dropped them off in Haiti and said, these people are your responsibility. And they never looked back after that. Why don't we do this? Now, I get it. These people are filing for asylum because they're saying that they're running away from persecution from their country. But that still has to be looked into. We got official 1SP in the house. Martha's Venue. Martha's Venue. Exactly. Martha's Venue. That's right. Gold is in the house. Thank you for being here. Nicholas says, that's who I vibe with the best. Thank you for being here, Nicholas. I hope I'm saying the name right, Nicholas. I hope I'm saying the name right. If I'm not, I apologize. Let me see. We got Pop Fit, Ab Solution Warrior. What's going on? And ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so, make sure you subscribe to the Information Man Speaks podcast, because I go live over there every other day during the week and give you more content about other issues that I don't do on this channel. So make sure you subscribe to the Information Man Speaks podcast as well. That's the second channel. If you scroll down on the page of this video page, you will see Information Man Speaks podcast. Make sure you subscribe to that channel as well, because I'm doing great things over there as well and giving you great value for your time. So I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Natural, thank you for being here. Lisa Jackson's in the house. Let me see. Yalfi, thank you, my sister. Get back in contact with me, Yalfi, because I know, sister, we talked about several months back that you wanted to do some advertisement on the channel. So make sure you do that. And by the way, before I end this, it's important that I do this, ladies and gentlemen. If you like the show Atlanta is in its last season right now, ladies and gentlemen. It comes on Thursday nights. You do not want to miss it. If you like that show, Atlantis, I love the episode when Cat Williams was on there and you had that alligator crawling out of the house. Make sure you don't miss it.
This episode is sponsored by FX's Atlanta. FX's Atlanta returns for its final season. Earn, Alfred, Darius, and Van are back in their hometown. But the question is, has Atlanta changed or have they? FX's Atlanta, the final season, all new. Thursdays on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Right. All right, there it is. Mike B, thank you for your support. Somebody else, Deborah Guns, Jasmine Virgo. I'm just going to make sure I give everybody respect. Empress, Goddess, thank you for that super chat tonight. Carlos T, everybody. Oh, we got my man B1 for life in the house. Briggs, thank you for coming over. I see you in the chat room. Everybody, you all are the best. And that's why we're going to get into it and get out of here. Good night, everybody. Peace.
Tell the truth.
Peace. I'll be back with more presentation. I appreciate you all.
Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up, but I still try. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I get so fed up.
I can't forget, make sure you check out Yalpo's book, Melanin. It's in your stores now at Barnes and Noble. You can order it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle. And I believe the brother is now trying to port it into your audio book. Make sure you get Melanin. This is a fictional black sci-fi novel by Yalpo, who I interviewed on this channel. Make sure you get his book. It's incredible. His book is doing great things. You are responsible for his book being #1 on Amazon and shooting up to the stars. Definitely continue supporting this brother, Yalpo. He does write other books, and this is a fantastic book. This is a book that's a sci-fi book about something happening to the earth in which you can't survive unless you have melanin.
Tell the truth.
In a society where people are coveting melanin, people were trying to take melanin pills, inject stuff in their body. Black people were on the bottom, but now on the top because we can survive in this apocalyptic environment with melanin.
Tell the truth.
Get that book by my man, Yabo. Like your life depends on it, everybody. With that said, it's time to get on out of here, and thank you once more again. Peace.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up, but I still try. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I get so fed up. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. Why do I feel like a letdown? On the edge, I don't wanna get down. Been on this road one time way back when I chose J Mac over Les Brown. So close to calling it quits. Look at all the dumb stuff that I did. Said I wouldn't be just like my dad, but I went ghost on 2 of my kids. No cap, just might popped in more of these pros. So hard to forget, I don't really wanna go back. I really need a fresh start, could really use a mulligan. I've been in rehab, I don't really wanna relapse. That ain't right, but that's alright. I'm out at night, in my head, off my meds, and I'm feeling sad. I don't know why. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. Yeah. I get so fed up. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up, but I still try. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I get so fed up. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I ain't right, but that's all right. Off my meds, out at night, all that time, can't get back, feeling sad. I don't know why, I ain't gon' lie. You ain't no good, but come on by, come on slide. Still can't feel, lost my bro, still don't cry. I don't know why. 25 letters on my dresser. Why do I feel like a mess up? Everybody see me out here walking with the Lord, but I still wanna dance with the devil. Yeah. Why show love to Becky, but I friends on Quintessa? Every single woman deserves to be loved. A gift like that's so special. But we treat a dark-skinned girl like precious, and a red-bone girl so extra. All I gotta say is be careful, cause the media is really at the...
Thank you for the super chat. Back to the basics.
Out at night, in my head, off my meds, feeling sad, and I don't know why. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my... Yeah. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I get so fed up. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up. I ain't right, but that's alright. Off my meds, out at night, all that time, can't get back, feeling sad. I don't know why, I ain't gon' lie, no good, but come on by, come on slide. Still can't feel, lost my bro, still don't cry. I don't know why. I get so fed up. Sometimes it's hard to keep my head up.
Tell the truth.
You are listening to Information Man. Please make sure to subscribe to his channel.
Everybody have a good night and a great rest of your weekend, and have a safe week. Make sure you tell somebody that you love them, everybody. Take care.
Tell the truth.